Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Matthew Kays. Today I'm teaching all chess beginners on the chess openings, especially how to defend when you are using black. I've seen that most beginners, they don't like using black. They don't know how to defend. So I'm going to teach you how to defend against e4. Why e4? Because I've seen that e4 is the most popular move, e4, and my next video I will be teaching on how to defend against d4. So guys, when you look at your board, from E to H, that's the king side, from D to A, that's the queen side, meaning that E and D, that's the center. So make sure when you are playing, you take in control of the center. So if your opponent plays e4, you can play e5, e6, you can play c5, you can play c6, you can play knight to c6. So those are the most of the variations against e4. So I want to start with e5 and teach you how to defend when you play e5. So most common moves on this move, white can play knight to f3. White can play knight to f3, attacking your pawn. So the question is, how do you defend your pawn on e5? How do you do that? There are so many ways. You can play d6, you can play knight to c6. You can see that, right? d6, yes. So you can play d6, but I don't like d6 though, because my dark bishop is closed there. So that's why some they play knight to c6. But now knight to c6, white can attack that knight with the white bishop by playing bishop to b5, attacking your knight, because he knows that if you trade your pieces, you then gain the pawn on e5. But don't just have a defending mind, also have an attacking mind. Yes, if you trade, I will lose my pawn on e5. I can play knight to f6, attacking that pawn on e4. Don't just have a defending mind, also have an attacking mind. If you trade those pieces, you don't need to worry, because his pawn on e4 is also hanging. You can see that, right? If he takes, I can choose not to take with the knight. I can play queen to d4. I can play queen to d4, attacking the knight, at the same time attacking that pawn. Are you seeing that? If he plays, I'll take that pawn with my queen, check, obviously queen, we trade the queens, trade, I'll develop my pieces, my bishops, play the big pieces first in the opening, develop quickly. That's how you win chess. When in the opening, make sure you develop your pieces quickly and you castle. We don't want our king on the center, we want our rooks to be connected. How can you connect our rook? By long castling. Long castling, are you seeing that? So there are two types of castling. You can do a short one, that's short castling, and that one, that's long castling. Easy stuff. So when the rocks are connected, then you are good to go, you're good to attack. Let's move to the next move. e4, I can play e6. Okay, still on e5. Still on e5, I want to teach about the scholar's mate. Some they don't know how to defend the scholar's mate, or some they call it fool's mate. How do you defend against this? Okay, your opponent might play that bishop to c4. Some they want to follow Rai-Lopez, some they follow the fool's mate. So now the queen is on f3. How do you defend the f7? There is checkmate there, because if it takes with the queen, you can't take back, because queen will be protected with the bishop. So how do you defend? For example, let's say you didn't see that coming. You play d6. That's a blunder. You checkmate. Seeing that. So the question mark, those two red, that's a blunder, represent blunder. Again, it's a checkmate. How do you defend? Some they will try to play knight to h6. That's a weakness, because your opponent will play d4, attacking your bishop, and at the same time that bishop will attack your knight that is defending. If you lose that knight, and if you want to take back that bishop, you can mate. There's checkmate now, you mate. You understand? So it's not a good move, it's not a strong move to play the knight to h6, because that knight will be attacked and you lose the piece You understand? Or there will be checkmate. So the best way to defend against this, let me show you. Let's play again. Bishop to c4. You play that. Let's say queen. You put your knight to f6. That's how you defend against. You defend this move so that you won't mate. Right. So you play that knight to f6. So your opponent will see that you have defended. You castle. You castle. That's it. Now from then you are now into the middle game. Easy stuff. You understand? So now you have moved from opening now to the middle game. I'm just teaching you guys about the chess openings only. Right. Now the middle game, yes, we'll talk about that when you know all the chess openings on my next video. So some of the moves that you might play, some they get confused when they get their knight pinned on f6. Look at that. So bishop and knight, these are all equal. You can trade your queen, but that's not a good position. Look at your pawns. So try by all means to avoid this kind of moves. So that's why some they play their knight to from b8 to d7. So I'm going to show you that in the next move. Even this move is still okay. But how do you play this? Yes, if you develop the knight, for example, you can trade the pieces. You can place your bishop on e6. You can trade the pieces. Yes, you can have that double pawn, but you also have that double pawn on c3. You understand? And those are weak pawns, right? Fine then. Let's say you play bishop to e6. You take. You take. Then he has to remove the queen there because you can move your knight. Most beginners, they don't know that. For example, let's say you placed your knight in front of that pawn, not realizing that your queen is under attack. Beginners, they just take, and that's a blunder. You lose your queen. So always know what your opponent is doing or what your opponent is planning. Fine then. Let's move on to the next opening, e6. That's this is French defense. French defense, you start with e6. If your opponent plays d4, why d4? He wants to control the center. So as black, you must also fight for that center. You play d5, you trade off. Like, look at this. He's controlling the dark squares with the pawn on d4. He's controlling e5 and c5. Your pawn also on d5 is controlling the light squares, which is e4 and c4. You develop your pieces quickly. Now you castle. Now you understand. So that's how you do it. So don't be afraid to use black. Plus, we need people with a positive mind. So the most powerful and fearful force on earth is the mind of a positive thinker. Now I think that I have developed my knight on d7, protecting my knight on f6, so that I'll be more comfortable even to play c6. I'll be comfortable to move my queen, so that that knight on f7, it will be free to move. I can't play that one. You understand? I can't play. Yes, if you trade, I'll trade now because I've removed my queen. But let's say he places the knight on e5. Most beginners, they would play that, and you get your pieces pinned by a pawn because the pawn is protected by a rook. So make sure you should also be able to see that those kind of moves. Like when he plays like that, you can play your queen, you can ignore. You understand? Rather than just trading your pieces, you end up getting pinned. So avoid that at all times. All right. So I see my queen is attacking 2 pawns at the same time. Let's move on to the next one. Let's play Sicilian. I've played that one. We now move on to Sicilian. That's c5. c5, this is Sicilian now. Even if my opponent plays d4, take that pawn, trade. Don't be afraid to trade. You're black, you're defending, right? You develop your pieces. Now you can even play knight to f6. Don't be worried. You understand? Because you can't push that pawn attacking your knight. You take. You understand? And also take advantage if your opponent misses. For example, he develops the knight, you take that free pawn. You understand? So don't hesitate. Take that free pawn if your opponent misses. You understand? Take those free pawns. Now make sure you develop your pieces quickly. And also the reason of playing all these pawns, we want our bishops to be in the game. Please, when you're playing chess, have you seen me explaining about bringing queen quickly out? You understand? You don't move your queen quickly, get your queen into the game quickly, because your queen might get trapped, especially for the beginners, guys. Start by developing your bishops and your knights. Are you seeing all these moves, guys? You've moved from the opening. Another move, you can play c6. This one is called Caro-Kann defense. Now you play c6, this will be followed by d5. So even if he plays d4, trying to occupy the center, I will fight for the center. I'll play d5, you take the pawn, I will take back. You control dark squares, I will control light squares. You understand? You develop, you develop your knights, you try to castle quickly. You understand? So no need to be worried or to be afraid of anything. You can also attack. You pin his knight. You understand? So there are so many ways, guys, that you can do. Now, so this is Caro-Kann. So if he tries to attack, always know what your opponent is planning. For example, you can play queen to b3, attacking the b7. That's why I played the queen to that. You understand? We can trade off pieces. You can trade, even if check, I'll place my knight. So you understand? So you develop, even if it develops a castle, you castle. You understand? So guys, this is it. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. This is chess opening. All right. So I've taught you how to defend against the e4. You can play e5. You can play, so the a6 is a book move. The h6 is a book move. But I don't recommend those moves because you are not fighting for the center. If you lose the center now, it will not be easy for you. So I have taught you 4 moves on how to defend against white. So guys, thank you very much for your time. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos.